Wide-angle lenses explained. I could give you 7 top tips or 5 mistakes to avoid, or I could be a bit different. Stick around and you will improve your photography, learning why your wide-angle lens is so special. Good morning everybody. Today's video is all about wide-angle lenses. But I'm going to do it from the point of view of telling you what's special about the lens. Yes, we're going to take some example photographs as well, but what I really want to do is tell you why I think wide-angle lenses are so special, how best to employ them to get the most out of your photography. I could do a top tips video, but I reckon that if I give you the knowledge that you need to know about the wide-angle lenses themselves and how they work, then you'll be able to figure most of those out for yourselves anyway. What I have got to find, of course, now is the subject to shoot. Now, I left it a little bit late this morning. I didn't get out of bed quite early enough. It was pouring down with rain, and I wouldn't have been able to shoot. And by the time it dried up enough to get out, well, to be honest with you, it's probably a little bit too late. The clouds cleared away, or it's clearing away. The sun's up high in the sky. The lighting isn't what I would normally like it to be, and I'm going to struggle a little bit to find subjects. But I have found one that I think will work. Not really happy with the lighting. It might be something I come back to again on another day when it's a little bit less contrasty and shoot again. But let's see how we get on. Now, I don't do a lot of wide-angle photography, so the lens that I've got with me today is my trusty Canon 24-105 lens, and I must say I really did miss it when it was at the repair shop the other week. But it will give me an opportunity when it was being repaired to shoot at one focal length, well, a range of focal length, to shoot at 70-300, which is the range that I've got on my Telephoto. So today what I'm doing to shoot at wide angle, the widest I can go is 24mm. So I've set this lens on this camera at the 24mm setting, and that's where I'm going to be doing all of my photography. Now, 24mm on a full frame camera, which the Canon 5D is, works out to be about 36-38mm on a crop sensor camera. And that's the first thing to realise that's important, is that when we're talking about the wide angle, we're talking about the angle of view. So when we use a crop sensor camera at 24mm, yes, we get a little bit less in that angle of view, but the optical properties of the lens stay exactly the same. So let's talk about those optical properties as we set up this photograph. So the first thing which I think is important to realise with wide angle lenses is how they exaggerate perspective. So what do I mean by that? Well, in terms of photography, you can think about perspective really as being the relative distance between objects in the frame, or how they appear. And with a wide angle lens, you can get really, really close to your foreground. You can make that really big in the frame, and the objects in the distance become less significant. Now, there's times when you wouldn't want to do that. For example, if you're out in a mountain range and you wanted to show the size of the mountains and how large they were and how towering and dominant they were in the frame, then using a wide angle lens might actually make those distant mountains appear very small and insignificant. So that wouldn't be a good time to use it. But if you've got a subject like I have here today, which is predominantly about the foreground interest, it's about the textures on these roots and on the pine needles on the ground and how it's all working together and all the interest down there, then getting in really close to it is a great idea to do. Wide angle lenses are really great if you want to capture close-up texture and form and shape and colour. So let's take this picture and I'll show you what I mean. First though, I think I'm going to put a polarizing filter on just to see if I can take some of the reflected light off the background and saturate it a little bit more, because it is a really bright contrasty day. So I'll put that filter on and then we'll talk a bit more about the photograph. So I'm shooting a little bit of viewfinder video now that I've got that filter on, so you can just see the effect that it is. So if you look at the trunk of the tree and look at some of the reflected light on there, just look what happens when I move that filter a little bit. Just cut some of it down. It's not working very strongly, mainly to do with the angle of the sun. It's kind of in the wrong place, but you get the idea. It's better than it was before. In this composition, to make the very best that I can of the wide angle lens, I've got them really close to the ground. In fact, I had to take the center column off the tripod so I could get the legs wide enough apart to get that low angle that I needed. So what I've got now is I've got these trunks and this bark and everything really close up to the front of the lens. I've focused right down in front of me so that I'm getting what's in front really sharp focus. I am shooting at f/16, so I've got quite a decent depth of field, and it doesn't really matter too much if the background in this image is a little bit soft, so I'm not going to worry about it. So let me take this photograph. You can have a look at what I've done and how that perspective has been exaggerated and how I've got all that foreground interest and detail in there. Right, okay, let's get this image done, have a look at it and see what you think. By using the wide-angled lens's ability to go in close to the foreground, I was able to capture the root structure of this old pine tree. The simple colour combination of the fallen pine needles, the dark wood and the summer greens of the woodland beyond make an interesting photograph. Well, I've got absolutely no idea how that photograph finally came out. Hopefully it's not too bad and it was worth showing you guys. I've got another idea for a picture a bit further down the river on the other side, so I'm going to make my way down there now and hopefully that'll enable me to show you some other aspects of wide angle lenses. So let's get down there now. Got to be honest guys, we're clutching at straws a bit here. This isn't ideal, but the location that I had in mind to take the photograph for you isn't working out exactly as I thought it would. Hope you can hear me okay above the noise of the running water, and hopefully that running water is going to save the day and capture the photograph. I'm not even sure if I can show you how I'm going to set up the camera, but I'm going to do my best because I've got water all around me, rocks around me, and I've got to find somewhere to put down the camera safely and put that down without ending up with it down in the water somewhere. So I'm going to sort that out, get the camera so it's relatively safe, and then I'll try and explain to you what it is I'm doing. And oh blimey, well that's been hard work setting up that photograph. I've got a combination of rain, really contrasty lighting, and then the lighting becomes less contrasty, and it's just a nightmare. I'm hoping that the light's going to change again so I can take some better pictures than I have. But from the point of view of explaining and using a wide angle lens, it's actually worked quite well, to be honest. So the picture that I've set up, and I'm going to put up some viewfinder video for you because I just can't get to where the camera is easily and hold the video camera at the same time, is looking down on some swirling water in front of me with some rocks around. And out in the background there's also some waterfalls as well and a tree line in the distance. And this is an ideal situation to use a wide angle lens. In a few other videos I've talked about focus stacking, where you've needed to join a number of images together so that you can get everything in front to back sharpness. Well, one of the other optical properties that a wide angle lens has is that it has got an incredible depth of field. So you can get a really, really good front to back sharpness. For example, in the image which I've set up and taken here, I'm shooting at about f11, maybe towards f16. It depends what the sun does and the lighting is in the minute, to be honest. But basically at f11, at 24 millimeters, the nearest distance that I can focus is 0.92 meters. At 50 millimeters, that extends out to nearly 3.9 meters. So you can see it's a huge difference of about 3 meters difference depth of field just in the foreground alone. That's if we're looking at getting infinity in focus as well. The contrast has dropped, so I'm going to take that photograph really quickly. Well, I think I actually managed to get it in the end. I had a few seconds when the sun was obscured by a small light cloud, and I managed to get a picture with a bit less contrast in it, which made handling the exposure that little bit better. I'm not 100% sure what exposure settings I had in the end. I had to work so quickly, but I've got whatever I've got, and hopefully the image will come out okay. So I'm going to put that image up on the screen for you in a moment, but first of all, just to recap, a wide angle lens is more than just getting a wide angle of viewing. It's about optical properties as well. It's about that incredible depth of field that you can get with front to back sharpness. It's about getting close to your foreground subject and getting all that detail and that texture in there. It's about exaggerating perspective and making near subjects seem really much larger in comparison to the background. There's good times to use it, there's bad times to use it. If you want to find out a bit about my images where I've been taking them using telephoto lenses, then a few weeks ago I did a whole series using just my 70 to 300 zoom on my landscape photographs, so you may want to look at that. I'm going to pack up, I'm going to put up the final image for you so you can have a look at it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up, it makes all the difference, and I'll see you in the next video. But check out this photograph first. I had to work hard to get this photograph. Contrasty lighting made exposures a real challenge, and just getting to a place where I could stand the tripod was hard work. Using the wide-angled lens allowed me to get close to the foreground and capture the patterns in the water that first attracted me to the scene. With its incredible depth of field, I was also able to capture the layers of cascades and woodland in focus in one shot.